Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is a pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. Back at it. Great to be back behind the microphone again. I've missed you for the couple days off that we have had. Not for vacation times or anything, but it has been a little wild. We'll get you an update on that momentarily. Welcome into the program. It is your Thursday. I'm Andy Hoosier. Welcome aboard. Doing the thing like you do every single day.
Do it live!
And we're going to rock it here on the program. Got a big one. Braedon Sorbo on the program, bottom of the hour. He is the author of the latest book, Embrace Masculinity. Are we seeing a cultural shift in society today? Are we seeing manliness, masculinity rise again? And will we find a purpose for the men in society? I have a theory on why we're seeing so many men try to pretend to be females in society, and we'll cover all that at the bottom of the hour with Braedon in just a little bit. So welcome aboard. It's always great to have you. Just a quick family update. As you know, been off for the last couple of days, not because of vacation, but because we had some personal issues going on. I've given you a little bit of detail on what was happening with Mrs. Voice of Reason being a bit ill under the weather. She officially went into surgery on Tuesday, which is why we are off. She had the kidney stone officially removed. She stayed overnight. We brought her home on Wednesday, and then not 20 minutes into bringing her home, the temperature and fever spiked again, so we brought her back. They readmitted her, and she is still there. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, we will see Mrs. Voice of Reason returned home safe and sound tomorrow, which would be really exciting. So that's the update. Not a whole lot more to give, but thoughts and prayers have been very much appreciated. We feel them. We thank you so much for all the comments and the kind words and the outreach from so many on social media and the email. We thank you. We love you to death. We will keep you apprised. But Mrs. Voice of Reason, she's a tough cookie, man. She's very strong, and that's why I love her. But she is rocking it. No sepsis, all good. No infections any longer. They were just concerned about a few other things, but it seems like that is on the mend as well. I just got off the phone with her not 20 minutes ago, and she was up and walking around as they make her do, and she was sore and wore out from that, but feeling well and strong. So it is all good, and we are very optimistic about getting her home tomorrow and back at it, ready to go. So thank you for all that. Because of that, little Voice of Reason hanging out in studio with us. We'll get her, if I can get her. It's very difficult to do so, but we'll see if we can't get her on the radio because she loves you just as much as well. All right, got a lot to talk about for sure.
What's trending today?
There it is. And it seems like every time we leave, there's so much drama going on. The drama and the gossip, and we knew it was going to happen. We made the prediction. We just didn't know when.
Andy's prediction.
But we knew it was going to happen, and I got to be honest, I'm surprised, truly, honestly, that it took this long for it to happen. When you get two type A personalities, two business Mongols, two massive multi-millionaires, billionaires, Elon Musk obviously being the most richest, most wealthy guy on the face of the earth, you know that there's going to be a clashing. And both individuals, with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, let's be honest, even though we love both of them, are a bit petty. And they don't like to be attacked, and they will make sure that whoever is attacking them will get an earful about what their opinion of them actually is. I was really shocked and surprised that the entire 130 days that we saw Elon Musk as a special federal employee working with the Department of Government Efficiency, that there was not some pettiness going on. And even during the media times when there was interviews and Donald Trump would speak and Elon Musk would kind of interrupt and vice versa, they really have a lot to say, a lot that's on their mind, and they want to get it out, and they would overtalk each other, which for the president is kind of weird because you don't overtalk the president of the United States when he's speaking of that such. And they've been friends. They've been fine. Elon Musk officially leaving office last week, and now he's back in the private sector. Moments after going into the private sector early on this week, we saw the tweets. Elon Musk obviously not a big fan of the one big beautiful bill, and saying that essentially it's erasing all of the savings that he's worked on with the Department of Government Efficiency. Now he's going further, attacking Donald Trump. Donald Trump starting to spar back. That coming from a comment earlier today with the press where Donald Trump said this.
If you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here. Better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have we want to be able to sell everything.
Well, so begins that. Apparently, Elon Musk petty about a contract with his Tesla company and the electric vehicles, but it's getting worse where we knew this was going to happen, and I try to warn you not to buy into all the gossip, all the bickering, all the pettiness, all the back and forth, because both of them, again, are very petty. Both of them are just that type of personality. It's what they are. And again, we knew it was going to happen at some point. Scrolling through Elon Musk's page, because this is the kind of guy that Elon Musk is, he's really going after Donald Trump right now. 2 hours ago, saying a truth bomb about to be released. Donald Trump is on the Epstein files. That's the real reason why they've not made the Epstein files public. Have a nice day, DJT, Donald John Trump. Then he reshared a Truth Social from Donald Trump, saying the easiest way to save money is in our budget. Billions and billions of dollars is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I will always surprise that Biden didn't do that, in which case Elon Musk has responded now that in light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, that SpaceX will now begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Now, for those who don't know, that's probably not a good thing. We're looking to try and colonize Mars, and we were doing that with Elon Musk, with the partnership of Donald Trump and the federal government, and with NASA and all these other agencies. But now that we're decommissioning the Dragon spacecraft, is he willingly just shutting down part of his SpaceX program to spite Donald Trump? Kind of interesting. Then he reshared, Elon Musk being on his X program, reshared a post that said, between the president and Elon, who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him, in which Elon Musk shared and now said yes. Then there's the post that he shared as well about Trump and Epstein being well established with their relationship. Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 7 different times, though it's not clear he ever went to the island. Here's what Trump said about Epstein back in 2002, and they made the post saying that he didn't really know much about him, but he was a great guy, whatever, and Elon Musk shared that one with a weird face as well. Finally, just a couple hours ago, Elon Musk said, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% of the middle class? So the bickering continues. I will warn you not to buy too deep into this, although that's obviously big news right now. It's unfortunate the Republican Party starting to fall apart from within, the unification that we had seen to try and cut the government, to try and reform the government, but it's not necessarily all a bad thing. And here's what I mean by that with our What's Trending.
What's trending today?
Obviously, Elon Musk, not a big fan of the One Big Beautiful package. We need the One Big Beautiful package because it has much of the Trump tax cuts, the codifying of tax cuts 1.0, preparing for tax cuts 2.0 with the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. These are big things that we need. The writing off of purchasing an American vehicle and writing off that interest on your taxes. All of these are wonderful big things. Elon Musk, essentially frustrated, rightfully so, that, hey, I just went in and I cut hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in the federal government. You need to codify those as well, which we're working on with a rescission package that is struggling to work its way through the House. This is a bigger issue about the Republican Party. It's not about Donald Trump, although it's misguided anger, misguided frustration, misguided pettiness from both Donald Trump and Elon Musk, that this is misguided because the focus needs to be on the Republican Party. And did we not again call this one? Again, just chalk it up to the predictions that Andy made here on this program, and we did it again, unfortunately, because I don't want it to be, but the Republican Party still not quite finding its spine. Not quite finding its backbone to do the tough talk and to say, yes, we're cutting massively at the federal level. Yes, we're going to get rid of these agencies. And yes, we're going to get rid of program X, Y, and Z. We're going to cancel them. You can do them at the state level if you want to, but we are getting rid of them. Finito, they're gone, zippo. That's what we need to do. And it's not quite happening. In fact, we're cutting $1 trillion out of this big, beautiful package. But that $1 trillion is over a 10-year span. Very small and insignificant compared to the $90 trillion of this one big, beautiful package. So rightfully so, Elon Musk, arguably one of the smartest guys on the face of the earth, the wealthiest guy on the face of the earth, took 130 days out of his time to help the Trump administration and to help the Department of Government Efficiency and try to find government waste. to try and stop the government fraud, to try and get the government back on track, knowing that we cannot bankrupt this nation. And what do? We turn around and have a bill that's really big, that essentially just wipes out all the savings that he did, and he's not very happy about it. Now, here's the bright side, and here's the optimism, because we are the eternal optimist on this program, that while this may not be the best right now, the Senate is starting to balk, and there's at least 4 Republicans, according to Senator Rand Paul, that is not on board with this bill. Do we need to pass the bill? Yes. Does it need reforms? Possibly. And, I'd be okay with that. As long as it keeps the tax cuts, I'm totally happy with whatever else we reform in there for the most part. Could we actually see some deeper cuts in the bill because of the influence now that Elon Musk has, and that's been able to influence some Republicans and especially some conservatives? I don't care what the Democrats say, to be honest. And while they're doing their fear tactics, and let me tell you, their fear tactics, their paranoia, their insanity has been dialed up even to 12 now with Chuck Schumer out there. Look, I mean, when you talk hyperbole, these guys used to hide behind and just, use a little bit of scare tactics, kind of worry everybody. They're taking it to an entirely different level when Chuck Schumer comes out and says this.
I know one thing. Donald Trump is just lying about the bill. Lying about the bill. Well, here's the "We Are All Going to Die" act.
Did you hear that? Yeah, the "We Are All Going to Die" act. That's what they've redeemed this because of all the cuts in Medicaid, which isn't happening, by the way. All the cuts in these other programs that aren't really happening anyways. We're cutting less than 1% of our budget, less than 1% in a 10-year span. And because of that, it has now been deemed as...
Here's the "We Are All Going to Die" act. It says nearly 14 million. It's 16 million, getting closer to 16 million, according to CBO's numbers, we've been told. 11 million people cut off from affordable food, tax cuts for billionaires. We're all going to die, Bill. And that shows the callousness of this Republican majority in the House and the Republican majority in the Senate.
It's kind of weird the way he phrased that. It's almost like he said the Republicans deemed it as the "We're All Going to Die" act. But we joke. I mean, this is hyperbole on the show when we say that, they think that everybody's going to die if we cut anything.
We're all going to die because of you!
Like, that's a joke. It's supposed to be hyperbole. And now they're literally trying to relabel the bills of "We're All Going to Die" act if we end up passing this at all. Like, how... What are we talking about here? This is the insanity. I mean, they've dialed the rhetoric up to 11. They are loony Republicans. Can we please get our, back in order and actually unify and work together to do Republican things? Remember, we have a mandate. The mandate is to hit the reset button in D.C. to make people feel uncomfortable, meaning the elites and the establishment and the agencies and the bureaucracy in general. We want to make them feel uncomfortable and wipe out vast numbers of the federal government. I understand Trump's mindset. We grow the economy and grow the GDP fast enough to where we can balance the budget and we can handle the debt that's in our nation that we could accrue with this bill short term. But why can't we do both at the same time? Cut massive amounts of spending, do the massive tax cuts, and then really see this economy crank and get back on track. Why is it only one or the other? We have the majorities. It may be slim, but we have the majorities. Come on, Republicans, let's get on board and work together, shall we?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. When reason meets radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
The senator from New Jersey clutched his pearls about language threatening judges, and yet I do not recall a single Democrat senator of this committee saying a word when Chuck Schumer went to the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened the safety of the Supreme Court justices by name, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, and he said, "You have unleashed the whirlwind and you will pay the price." And not a single Democrat senator had a word to say about this. And so their outrage is selective. And I will give my colleague from New Jersey a chance to just answer a simple yes-no question. Should the Biden Justice Department have enforced the criminal law against protesting at a justice's home? Yes or no?
So the rank hypocrisy of Chuck Schumer apologizing the next day and you holding that standard for him and not for your president, who you actually rightfully described when you were running against him in a primary. I would love to run those tapes of how you perfectly talked about the danger of our president and his rhetoric.
Okay. Cory Booker, Spartacus, back at it. He's still trying to be on the race to the top of the leadership for the Democrat Party. The ongoing Democrat reality TV show is still alive and well, and it's fun to watch because right now, according to the polls from the Democrats, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, our favorite person here on this program.
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
Along with Jasmine Crockett, apparently are the ideal ticket now for the Democrat Party.
Say what?
Yeah, so we have Cory Booker still trying to stand out. Chuck Schumer that's out there saying that we're going to try and fight against the kill everybody bill because it's going to kill everybody, right? I mean,
here's the "we are all going to die" act.
We are all going to die act. That's where we're at. The rhetoric, the hyperbole, taking things to an entirely different level. Republicans, we have a huge opportunity here. And again, I'm the eternal optimist. I'm the unifier. Let's come together and let's figure out a way to work together, because the fact that we have Republicans that can unite and ram this down their throat, we can cram this one big, beautiful bill down their throat and do it in a way that we keep all the $5 trillion in tax cuts, and we can reform it to have maybe $5 trillion in cuts. That would be awesome. I would be so happy about that. $5 trillion over the 10-year span. Fine. You know what? That's better. We have $1 trillion over the 5-year span right now. That's about 1%, if not less, of the entire $90 trillion federal budget we're looking at for the 10-year period right now. If we do $5 trillion, I'd be okay with that. Let's start small, baby. Let's start there. Then we can move forward. We still have to pass the rescission bills to codify the Doge cuts that we've had. Let's get this done. There's a mandate here. And it's not just the tax cuts, although that is part of it. We want the government to be smaller. We want them, the Democrats, the elites, the deep state, the bureaucracy, the whoever, to feel really uncomfortable. And I want to bring that to them. I want to make them shake in their boots. And I'm totally okay with that. Right now, we're not doing it. And we're screaming about a 1% cut, which is completely not okay. That being said, there are some pushback not only in the Senate, but in the House of Representatives. Marjorie Taylor Greene officially withdrawing her support from the One Big Beautiful Bill, although it's already passed, from the House side, saying that she didn't read it and found some things in it she does not like. Again, a reminder from Republicans that we don't want bills any longer that we do not read before we pass them. We do not want to be in the situation that Nancy Pelosi had always put us in, to pass it to see what's in it. We want to know exactly what the bill looks like. We want to see exactly what the details of these bills are. And if you do not have time to read it or it's too big, then we ain't got to vote for it. And that would be kind of common sense. The Senate, working its way through right now. If they can get some major cuts, then we would be happy. If they can do some major reforms, then we would be happy, and we could win on both sides. Again, I understand Donald Trump's mindset. I understand the idea. Let's grow the economy enough to catch up to the debt. That makes sense. But why can't we handle both? Why can't we do both? One thing, and I will say very right here, because Andy, you're just a puppet for Trump. No, I vehemently disagree with him in the fact that he wants to eliminate the debt ceiling. And he says that he agrees with that with Elizabeth Warren, a.k.a. Pocahontas. Vehemently disagree with that. No, we need to cut, and put a major cap on spending to where they cannot go above that and not allowed to raise it any longer. I think that's what we need to do personally.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Welcome back into it. It is the Voice of Reason. So great to have you along for the ride as usual. As you know, one of the topics we love to cover here on this program is, of course, the cultural issues. And I have some theories on the direction that we've seen the progressives go for the longest time, and not the fact that they're changing their tone, but in fact doubling down, which is probably why they're so unpopular right now across the nation. But where do we go from here? As we go to our next guest here on the program, and we go to our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
That's right. Really happy to have on the show. Can we bring back masculinity? Can we bring back manliness in society with a little bit of testosterone? The alpha male rising out of the ashes like the phoenix that we are. Happy to have on. He is the author of the latest book, Embrace Masculinity, Lifting Men Up in a World That Pushes Them Down. It's Braedon Sorbo. Braedon, how are you, my friend?
That has to be one of the best introductions I think I've ever had, so I'm doing even better than I was 2 minutes ago.
Well, hey, that's how we do it on this program. I love it. And it's sad that we even have to go down this road and talk about it, but here we are in society because apparently being a masculine man is unpopular. But why in the world did we start going down this road?
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, it's this weird vitriol that we see from the left, both online and in person, where they're attacking guys for just being guys.
Yeah.
And so it's about time that people started to take a stand against it. And I'm proud to say that my generation is almost leading that charge now, especially with everything going on in the media attacking Gen Z. It's good to be at the forefront.
It really is. Yeah, I love talking the generational differences because I'm a millennial, so I apologize for my generation because we're the ones that started the trend of let's start challenging the status quo. And you guys looked at what we did as my generation and said, yeah, we're not going to go down that road. We're going to do something a little bit different. And your generation could potentially be one of the most conservative generations that we've seen in a very long time.
They actually are the most conservative generation, according to the polls, from considering at least when we started taking polls on generations and where people lean politically. Gen Z is the farthest right. So that is a good thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about why we ended up going down this path in the first place. Obviously, my generation questioned everything. Again, I apologize for it. And especially now that we're starting to accept ourselves as an adult over the past year or two, crawling out of our parents' basements, we've really been brainwashed for years. But what led us down this path in the first place to start thinking that we need to question everything, including our identity and our gender, which to me is a kind of strange conversation to have in the first place?
Well, it really goes back farther than just the millennial generation, or, it's been a slow kind of degradation of society that really takes hold with the boomers. And so a lot of people fail to realize that it was unfortunately the generation of boomers that had this greatest kind of generation in America, and they kind of threw it away. So it's this weird conundrum where we're seeing people like the older public speakers going, well, all you need to do is pick yourself up by your bootstraps and everything will be good. But we know that everything's not good. The American dream doesn't exist anymore. And it's because the generations before even you or I were unwilling to fight to maintain it because they took it for granted. And so unfortunately, your generation didn't get to experience it in the fullness, but my generation doesn't get it at all. And so we are sort of pissed off, for lack of a better word, and we're trying to take it back so that we might be able to give it to our future kids.
Yeah. Were they just focused on themselves? Did they just not care? Did they kick the can down the road? What was their mindset that led us to, again, this situation?
So the thing that I've seen is it's kind of a combination of all three. And obviously, I'm making generalizations. I don't want people to go, well, I have great parents. It's like, of course,
sure.
There are certainly great older people out there, boomers out there, but by and large, the generations that came before us voted in the politicians that created the policies and the laws that have ultimately destroyed America. And I think that is what most people have a problem with. Because on a fundamental level, it's not, it's left versus right, it's good versus... It's a matter of there are bad people who have unfortunately taken hold of the systems in America and are creating the narrative and slowly destroying our country. And that started with the destruction of the nuclear family. The greatest thing a man can have in life is a wife and kids that love and respect him. And when you took that away from a man, you destroyed a lot of what drove humanity in the beginning. And so these guys are growing up realizing that 10% of women in Gen Z, 1.2 million American girls my age, are on OnlyFans, which is an online prostitution website for your listeners who might not know. So 10% of my generation women are on OnlyFans. That's an immediate dismissal, unfortunately, for the dating world. There are 85% of young men who have admitted to watching pornography at least once in their life, with maybe like 50 to 60% admitting to watching on a weekly basis. And so we have this perpetual cycle of sexual gratification without any sort of commitment. And we've created a market where families are not impossible, but difficult to obtain. And that is what drove society. That is what built communities and built this country. And so it has been this establishment that has destroyed the nuclear family and what it meant to survive in America that has led us down this path.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Let's talk about the feminizing of men for just a moment. The masculinity confession booths, and you're the problem because you're white and you're straight and you're masculine, so therefore you're the problem, that you're raping me with your eyes just by looking at me, and therefore we're not, I'm going to come after you and hate you because of this feminist movement. Have we attacked masculine, quote-unquote, men in the alpha male, or even just really idiotic college dudes trying to get the attention of girls, which was, the thing back in the day? You do really ridiculous ridiculous stuff just to try to get the attention, because if men didn't do that, we would have, lost our species a long time ago, because that's how you get the attention of women. I mean, how has that culture changed nowadays, and why did we start attacking men for just being men from the feminist movement?
Well, the feminist movement's ultimate goal was self-destruction, and they first started with destroying men, right? We see that the goal of feminism is women can do anything except go be a prostitute because it's easier and you make more money. And also men can be women now. And so it's this weird kind of conundrum where they're eradicating themselves. But they first started, like you said, with men, by feminizing men. And the biggest detriment to society is that. It really is. People go, well, it's not that simple. It is that simple. Men were destroyed by bad patriarchs, by bad officials, and because of that, we have lost our country. And obviously, it's not just a matter of, oh, well, are they just going to kill them or what? There are steps that people have taken over the course of the past century to eradicate masculinity. And it started with, like I said, the destruction of the nuclear family. It started with this complacency where, oh, just give them bread and circuses, the destruction of the soul with pornography, the killing through abortion. But we have made feminine men popular. Yeah. If you notice, the most popular social media influencing guys, at least on the left, are very feminine. The most popular Hollywood actors are incredibly feminine. We used to have real men in Hollywood. We used to have Clint Eastwood, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We had guys who were doing masculine things, and that is what Hollywood uplifted. And slowly, what we've seen is they've replaced that with, unfortunately, these skinny, wimpy individuals, and we have set that as the standard for masculinity. And this isn't me just trying to go, oh, well, if you don't, deadlift 500 pounds, you're not a man. But it's a matter of, okay, guys, something is clearly wrong here, and we have to look at all of the factors. Why is Hollywood pushing this agenda so aggressively? Why is the media pushing this agenda that men are inherently toxic? Why are they doing that to such a degree that as a guy, I can post simply a photo of myself and receive negative comments online simply for being a white man, right? There is something going on that people are finally waking up to. And it is that feminization.
Yeah, it's a really great point. I'm right there with you. I enjoy, the movies back in the day, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Sylvester Stallone, the Jason Statham, even The Rock with doing some of his action movies. I mean, those were the manly men. Those are the ones that you didn't need superpowers. You didn't need to be a superhero. You just needed to have that testosterone. You needed to have a little bit of martial arts skills, and you could go and kick everybody's butt in the movie. And you were the hero of the day, making it reasonable that anybody could potentially be that hero of the day, if you actually just set your mind to it as well, because of that masculinity and that manliness of what they actually created, which was fun. And I read a story, Braedon, just a few months ago, I believe, of feminist women angry and frustrated that they can't find real men to date because they have feminized so many men as the beta male, the David Hoggs of the Democrat Party and all these other, like you said, just the beta males that apologize for everything, that they're having a hard time finding dates now because they've feminized everybody on their side. There are no masculine men left in the Democrat Party.
No, there really aren't. And there are people who will infiltrate the DNC rallies and pretend to be on the same side just to interview people because they won't even speak to you if they think that you're slightly right-leaning. And these guys will go in and they'll say, well, why are all the hot guys Republican? And the girls will go, I don't know. But there are no good-looking, attractive, masculine guys on the left, and it sucks because we don't want to date the right-wing guys because they're racists and Nazis and all that. It's like, are you serious? Yeah. No, you push them away. And now the Democrats have this $20 million plan called SAM, Speaking to the American Man, that they're putting together in Ritz-Carlton hotel rooms, right? They're going to fancy, extravagant resorts, and they're putting together, how do we reach the average American man? And I just finished writing an article on it. I'm hoping to get published soon. But you speak to the American man by asking them and listening, right? Their entire plan is to just astroturf social media websites and video games. Yeah. They just want to propagandize better, and that does not work. Men are realizing that the Democrat Party doesn't care about them.
No, you saw that during the last campaign, right? I mean, you saw, I'm sure you saw the video of the Kamala Harris campaign of the average guy, the farmer that was out there in the plaid shirt and the guy working under the truck, and they're like, I'm a man, but I'm not afraid to vote for a woman. They were so out of touch with the constituency. They were desperate for the male vote, and Tim Walz, who was supposed to be the guy to do that, didn't relate to them, didn't do what he was supposed to do on the campaign trail by winning the average male out there. They have a serious problem, and I don't think they're going to win another election until they actually realize how they relate back to these individuals. And I'm sorry, Braedon, but Chuck Schumer putting a piece of cheese on a raw burger patty in a photo saying that he's relatable to us is not going to win us over.
Oh, not at all. I threw up a little in my mouth when I first saw that photo. But it goes back to what you were saying with Tim Walz. I mean, Tim Walz hunts, and he has a gun that he doesn't know how to load, for the record. Like, if you're going to do a PR campaign where you're loading a shotgun to go bird hunting, maybe figure out how to do it before you get the cameras rolling. That was one of the most idiotic moves of the campaign that they've made.
Yeah, they have some work to do before they can start winning over that crowd again. Braedon, hang on the line. We got to take a hard break here. It is Embrace Masculinity, lifting men up in a world that pushes them down. You can find it on Amazon, also his website as well. We got lots more to cover. I want to talk about the future of the Democrat Party and more when we come back right around the corner for your Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Welcome back to it. One segment left here as we wrap up the program for the day today. Always a pleasure to have you along for the ride. Interesting conversation about culture and about why men are being feminized in society as we chat with Braedon Sorbo, author of the book Embrace Masculinity, lifting men up in a world that pushes them down. Braedon, I have a theory on this program.
Andy's prediction.
And I have a theory that men are wanting to transition to women as opposed to seeing majoritively the other side with women transitioning to men because men have been so pushed down, like you say, talk about in your book, and that we've been attacked for so long that it's actually cooler in society to be a woman and you get so many more perks and therefore they want to be part of the cool kids club. How close do you think I am on that theory?
Wholeheartedly true. 45% of men aged 18 to 25 have never approached a woman in real life because they're told not to. They're told they're creeps, and they're told that they are inherently toxic and problematic. And so they're seeing women be wildly accepted, and then they're seeing transgenders widely accepted by all of the left. And so they go, well, if I'm not getting accepted because I'm a man right now, if I change who I am physically, they're going to love me. And so it is this desperate plea for acceptance. And it breaks my heart to see that this type of propaganda is working on some individuals because it is mutilation. And I think we can all agree that we don't want humans to be mutilated. We don't want humans to be hurt. Yeah. Hard stop, end of sentence. And unfortunately, the left doesn't think that way by and large, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And that leads me to the question of why feminists themselves, the women who have said that we can do anything that a man can, that we are independent. We created Title IX to where we can have our own sporting events. We can have our own thing going on so that way men don't come in and just kill it and dominate it. Why they're not speaking up louder and saying, wait a second, a man putting on a dress, even whether they believe it or not, or want to support him or not, or think they're victims in society or not, as the feminist left-winger progressives that they are, saying, wait a second, we've worked really hard to establish Title IX and to establish ourselves as wicked, wild, independent individuals. Now men are coming in and dominating our sports, dominating our culture, and just by putting on and really degrading us by thinking that we can put on makeup, get a boob job, and actually put on a dress, and now they're more of a woman than we are ourselves. I would think as a feminist and as a woman, they would be really offended by that, but yet we don't hear anything from them. Braedon, what's going on here?
There is a direct correlation between someone's physical strength and their level of agreeableness. And so, unfortunately, these men who are going into the women's sports are stronger physically, and so they pose a threat. And so, as a self-defense mechanism, it is ingrained into our culture, our humanity, our DNA, that we want to preserve ourselves. And so, because of that, the less physically domineering we are as humans, the more likely we are to just become complacent and agreeable. And the left has capitalized on that in the fact that women are afraid to speak out due to the repercussions. We have seen women get assaulted by people for simply saying that men shouldn't be in women's sports. That is a very effective campaign to tell the other women, you sit down, you shut up, this is what's good for you. That is what we're watching play out right now.
It's really unfortunate. Last question for you, my friend, and I appreciate your time. It's a great conversation. I love seeing culture beginning to swing back the other way. The Trump election that happened in November, the mandate that was set was really a rejection of this mindset, and we're getting back to normal-ish. We're starting to ban these different transition issues. We're starting to rid ourselves and cut out this whole transition movement, this wokeness ideology, this identity politics in general, but yet for some reason the Democrats are doubling down on it, maybe because they don't have anything left for their agenda. I don't really know. But I got to ask you, Braedon, what is your thoughts on the future of the Democrat Party? Will they finally come to the realization this is not working, or will they continue to go in their self-destruct mode by doubling down on this issue even further?
I see them doubling down because I don't see them taking anything back. That is a tenet of the Democrat Party, is they do not necessarily backtrack because they will eat themselves alive anytime they do. And so, unfortunately, I only see it getting worse. There is a very small window of opportunity for them to actually turn things around. But like I said, I'm not entirely sure how likely it is that it will take place and actually happen.
Well, we'll see how far they go. They're still defending Joe Biden right now, too. So I guess until they actually come to their realization, they're not going to grow and find a new leader in the party. It is Embrace Masculinity, lifting men up in a world that pushes them down. Find it on Amazon, other places as well. Braedon, we appreciate the time. It is such an important issue, and I'm glad you're on the forefront battling this as others are as well. But you're rocking it with this book. Congratulations. Got to get you back on, and let's talk about it again real soon, my friend.
Thank you. SorboStudios.com for the book.
You betcha. SorboStudios.com. You can find the book there. You can also find it on Amazon. It is Embrace Masculinity, lifting men up in a world that pushes them down. Braedon, we appreciate that. Keep up that fight. What an important one. And thank God we're starting to get back to somewhat normalcy on this issue of masculinity and the roles, not gender roles necessarily, but actually getting back to some common sense to understand of what gender really is. We're out of time, though, my friends. Back at it again here real soon. Until then, be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. It's the voice of reason. I'm Andy Hoosier. We'll see you on the radio. Bye.